hardest restaurant to get into.
For you,
Thank
anytime.
you.
Democratic Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi still recognizes the power and charm of retail politics.
How are you?
How are you?
I've been praying for you.
Thank you.
Tommy said you're getting better.
Yeah, well, a mortician told me the same thing.
It's a part of her fabric that she admits was cultivated from an early age.
That's really what I learned in Baltimore, Maryland, at 245 Albemarle Street, Little Italy, is that you have to be on the ground.
All right, folks, welcome to Give Me Five. MSNBC Morning Joe did a big interview with Nancy Pelosi, but first, as described by Newsmax.com, Thomas Roberts did a sloppy, loving interview story with package, as they call it, with Nancy Pelosi. She goes back to Baltimore, where her father was once mayor. Watch.
Growing up the youngest of 6 and the only daughter of one of Baltimore's longest-serving mayors, Thomas D'Alessandro, as a young woman, her father's work would place her in the company of presidents like John Kennedy. But it was Pelosi's childhood, answering the door at her family home, trying to help the people who came to see her dad, that proved to be her political training ground. So you learned at a very early age on how to connect the dots?
Well, you know, it wasn't even thinking in terms of that. It was that people needed help, and therefore we wanted to tell them how to go about having that happen.
All right, so this is obviously a puff piece, a love piece. And what's interesting here is that Thomas Roberts' grandfather, I believe, great uncle, was an advisor to Nancy Pelosi's father when he was mayor. So that's what brought them together for this piece, I would imagine. And they named a street after Nancy. Watch.
And now it's not bad that there is a new sign on this street as well. What do you think about that? What do you think your dad would say about seeing Mrs. Nancy D'Alessandro Pelosi?
He would be amused. He was really something quite special, my father, as well as my mother. But working with your uncle, they did a lot of great things.
All right, that little giggle. I don't know, we should put that giggle up against Hillary's laugh and have a contest or something, a poll one day. Then there was, I got the thumbs up in the control room for that. They like that idea. Then Nancy Pelosi, here on another interview, was asked about the perception of Obamacare. She says, in California, we love it. Watch.
Fabulous. California is great. We're so proud how it is working in California, and it's working in many other places in the country as well. So I think he has a great deal to be proud of, a person's temperament about how, I always quote Lincoln. Lincoln said, public sentiment is everything. And actually, Ronald Reagan used to quote that of Lincoln. And so while I disagree with the characterization, if that's the impression people have, then communication has to be stepped up.
It's all about communication. You see, Obamacare is so wonderful. I just read today, there's another story we told you about earlier. Fraud. People are getting Obamacare and getting subsidies fraudulently. But that's okay, because the ones who are getting it fraudulently are happy, I guess, according to Nancy Pelosi, at least if they live in California. So, you know, it's just perception. Really, people love this. So when they tell the pollsters they don't love it, when they tell the pollsters they're against it, they just don't know what they're saying. See, if they were better informed, they'd all be happy like the people in California are about Obamacare. You following? People are too stupid to know that they're happy. And then she goes on another interview, and she talks about, this is the Colbert Report, I believe, and she talks about her middle-class jump start, whatever that is.
We will get to the fact that you're engaging in class warfare in just a moment. All right? You just did it. You just fired a shot across my bow. You can't deny that. All right. How will you get it done, though? Because nothing gets done in Washington.
That's right.
Nothing gets done in Washington, right? How can you possibly get this done? What are you going to use? Do you have naked photos of John Boehner doing something? How could you possibly get, because the Republicans... You got the mental image? You got the mental image?
No, I know.
And if you do, is the tan uniform?
All right, there you go. Making the rounds with Nancy Pelosi, ladies and gentlemen, from Baltimore, talking about California, now jump-starting the middle class. It's all just, you got to know what's in it before you pass it or after you pass it. On the Steve Malzberg Show.
Any